Hello, Purple Heart Consciousness holders. This is Reverend Jerry Hobby, and I am so happy to be with you this evening. I have had the most interesting day. When I say I've had a most interesting day, so much is going on in the world. There's so much. It seems that it can appear to be chaotic. And today, I've had many opportunities to witness what seemed to be chaos. But what I know, within the center of all chaos, there is the seed of good, there is the seed of calm that brings about the results that we're seeking. The most important part of the process is being awake and aware of where you're going and your intentions. And part of that process, in the midst of confusion, may require a couple of things. One thing I know is the most important part of that process is to live and be in a state of forgiveness. And that forgiveness is very, very important. I learned many years ago the power and the value of forgiveness from one of my spiritual teachers. Her name is Catherine Ponders. I remember being introduced to the book, Open Your Mind and Receive. And that was a very profound moment for me. It was a transforming moment. I was introduced to that book by my then minister, Reverend Dr. Alex Alachi. And it is a book that has continued to bless me again and again. Catherine Ponders says this: the forgiving state of mind is a magnetic magnetic power for attracting good. And so when we're focusing on good in our life, the first place is to start in the place of forgiveness. And that forgiveness opens us up to our good. Catherine Ponders also says that whatever the mind is taught to expect, that will build, produce and bring forth for you. So part of this process right now, as we are standing in this place of new beginnings, is to prepare our spirit, to prepare our mind. And the best way to prepare your spirit and prepare your mind is to engage in spiritual practice. And spiritual practice can take you a long way. It can support you in focusing, getting clarity. It can bring you peace of mind and harmony. And I know that in the midst of everything that's going on right now, we have a lot of people that are going stir crazy. But if we can occupy our minds, we can occupy our thoughts in a healthy way, we can create that seed of good. So this evening, I'm going to invite you to move into prayer with me. But our prayer is a prayer of clarity. Our prayer is a prayer to support us in terms of opening up to that next step and the next place of evolution. Because I'm going to say this, something new is getting ready to birth itself within each and every one of us. But we must keep our hearts open. We must keep our mind open. And it is important for us to be in a state of forgiveness, releasing, letting go of the things that no longer serve us. And some of the things that may be occupying our mind now may be creating a state of chaos in our life. It may create a state of anger and frustration. So part of this process is releasing those states. And part of the way we release them is engaging in that space of spiritual practice. So for me, when we move into that place of prayer, it is always about moving back to the heart space. So I'm going to invite you right now to join me. You've noticed that I've already closed my eyes. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If not, just look at my face and just watch me. And I'm going to invite you to simply slow down today. Just breathe. And just as we've been practicing good hygiene at home with wiping down our counters and doing all those things, hygienes with ourselves and our body, washing our hands, being diligent and washing our body, we also take this time to move into a place of spiritually cleansing. That's slowing down our breathing and just breathing in the heart space. And the more that we breathe in the heart space, we create that space of forgiveness. Anger cannot occupy the spot of love. So we focus on love right now. And in this space of love, we allow for forgiveness to reign within our hearts. And when we allow love to reign in our heart, any seeming hurt, any seeming pain starts to clear itself out. New stories are set in motion. New awarenesses are born. So it is in this moment that I acknowledge the power of love. I'm acknowledging the power of peace. I'm acknowledging love as the foundation of all things in my life. I'm acknowledging it as that divine source that is awake and present, the divine source that knows what to do and how to do it in its own way, the very breath of life. And so right here within my heart, I'm acknowledging that breath of love, the breath of creation, the breath of wisdom, and that breath of light that is everywhere, in everything, in all ways. And what I know about that breath is that light is nothing but perfect love. And it is perfect love that casts out any sense of fear. It is perfect love that brings about harmony. It is perfect love that brings about understanding. And it is perfect love that moves and clearly fulfills itself. It enriches itself. It grows within itself. And what I'm knowing is in this very moment, right here, right now, something divine has set itself in motion within me and through me and as me. It is love clarifying itself. It is love, the healing factor. It is love that is my business, and it is love that is the business of life. And I know about this loving presence is that it meets, it greets itself, and it is a mirror reflection that fulfills itself. And so right here, right where I am, I know that I am anchored in the spirit and the light of love. And this love that I know that is unfolding right now within me is the same love that is fully present within every single person that is hearing this prayer, that is engaged in this prayer, or viewing this prayer. And what I know is that this loving presence is the healing factor. It is bringing peace to every cell of our being. I know that it is this divine presence of love that is radiating itself as light itself. It is the divine thinker, and it is in every thought. It is divine love that is centered and poised as my experience. And I know that that experience is the same thing, moving and touching everyone right now that is alive and present and enthralled in this prayer. All that hear these words. And what I know is that this loving presence has already found itself within the seed of life, the soil of life. And what I know is it is this loving presence that is the healing factor. I know that it brings a peace, a new perspective, that it is the creative element at work right now. And I know that it is the same presence that is alive and thriving and moving in all areas of my life and in anyone's life right now. So I'm claiming that loving presence within every breath, the loving presence that fulfills itself in all relationships. I acknowledge it as the loving factor. That is the activity in every action and activity, within every breath that is taken, in the movement, in the clearing, the cleaning. I'm acknowledging it moving through the household. I acknowledge this loving presence as the preparing presence, the substance of all life. I know that it is in every food, all the foods that we ingest. I know that it is that divine presence within all of our relationships and our communication. I know that divine love is that divine presence that is the answer to that question, that burning question that we desire an answer. And I know that it is love. That is that presence that is filled with abundance that overflows. And it shows up in practical ways. So I'm acknowledging love right now within every single bill. Knowing love is that healing presence that circulates itself. That love finds and supports the ways and means of every single need that needs to be met now. For every single creditor, I know that love is the answer. And I'm acknowledging that loving presence. And know that love is that healing presence radiating in the body. It is love that brings about peace and harmony. It is love that clarifies itself and supports the healing factor. It is the extra that supports anyone that is moving through anything right now. And what I know about love is filled with compassion, divine understanding. And in this space of compassion, I know that there is care. And in that care, I know that there is the release of anything that is unlike itself, that it brings about peace, that it is the healing factor right now, fulfilling itself within every cell of our being. I know that it is this loving presence, that is that expanded awareness and the creative factor that supports us as we look upward, as we cast our eyes upon good. And we know that that love and that good is all inclusive, and that it includes each and every one of us. I know that the quiet stirring of spirit is that divine presence moving and radiating itself right now. It is the sacred blessing. And I spoke of these wonderful areas, for I know that it is that and so much more. And that the sacred wisdom and this sacred light is fully present right here, right now, informing itself and rebuilding itself and expressing its truth of being. And I know that that truth that I speak of right now is the sacred blessing that is overflowing. And I am in gratitude, for I know that love is that divine presence that has already forgiven itself. It has already blessed itself and anointed itself. It is love that is that overflowing presence. And just as I'm knowing this truth right now, and that these blessings are fully orbed and expanding themselves and enriching themselves, I know that the mighty blessings show up in practical ways for everyone hearing this prayer, experiencing this prayer, and it's uplifted. And so what I'm knowing is that this presence is perfect and all good. And this good is the one and only source that is the blessing this evening and forevermore. So I simply release these words right now into the action of this thing we call universal law. Knowing it is perfect and knowing it is good, we affirm and say, and so it is. Amen. I'm going to open my eyes, I'm going to look at you. I'm going to say thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I'm going to invite you to check in with us. Go to seedfm.org. Check out what we have going on because we have a lot of good stuff happening. And I'm also going to invite you, if you're liking what we're doing here in this community, if you have ever received a blessing, I'm going to invite you to just take a moment and just go to our page and make a wonderful donation. Whatever you give, it truly is a blessing. It continues to help and sustain us as we move forward, especially during times like this, because I know it is for this moment that this ministry has been created, so that we can show up as good in the universe, blessing everyone and everything in our path. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a blessed evening. Namaste.